One of the most famous celebrity homes in America is quietly changing hands behind the scenes.
Crying, confided to these people at the party that Meghan Markle is refusing to sign the documents unless he can guarantee prevent her from putting his kids on social media.
Someone who was once a prince reportedly found himself at a party in California, emotional and opening up to people he barely knew. According to the story, he was telling them he wanted out of the marriage, out of California, and out of the life he had chosen for himself. For many watching from the outside, it sounded like a shocking moment that nobody saw coming. And now, the mansion that was supposed to symbolize freedom and a fresh start may already be off the table or changing hands. That alone has people asking serious questions about what is really happening behind the scenes. But this story did not begin with a luxury house or expensive property deals. It started with a promise. When Harry and Meghan took what became known as the Freedom Flight, leaving royal duties, leaving the UK, and stepping away from the life they had always known, they made their reasons crystal clear. They said they felt trapped, overwhelmed, and desperate for more privacy and control over their future. For a while, it looked like the plan was working. The California estate, the Netflix partnership, the Spotify deal, the magazine covers, the foundation, and the growing personal brand all seemed to send the same message. They could build something massive on their own and succeed without relying on the royal family at all. The image was polished, powerful, and hard to ignore. But here's the part that has had people talking for years. Many critics and commentators kept saying the same thing. The numbers did not seem to match the image being presented, and the lifestyle raised plenty of questions. Now, nearly 6 years later, more analysts are starting to examine those same concerns, because the story coming out of Montecito today is very different from the one many expected to hear. The so-called Freedom Flight was promoted as the start of a brand new chapter. But according to growing speculation and public debate, the reality may not have unfolded exactly as promised. That contrast is what has people paying closer attention than ever before. Before we get into the latest reports surrounding the mansion and some of the claims making headlines right now, you need to understand one detail that rarely gets discussed. Most people have never actually seen the inside of Harry and Meghan's primary private residence. Think about that for a second. In interviews, documentaries, and various behind-the-scenes features, viewers have seen carefully selected settings and locations. But as many observers have pointed out, very little footage has been confirmed as being filmed inside their actual home, which has only added to the curiosity and speculation surrounding it. The reality is a little different from what many people assume. Harry and Meghan's reported residence is known as the Chateau of Riven Rock, a sprawling Montecito property sitting on roughly 7.5 acres. The estate reportedly features 9 bedrooms, 16 bathrooms, a cinema, a spa, a wine cellar, and even a tennis court. They purchased it for about $14.5 million in 2020, and Meghan explained to People magazine that she preferred not to film there in order to protect what she called their safe haven. That decision becomes even more interesting when you look at some of their biggest media projects. When Harry and Meghan appeared in their headline-making Netflix documentary, the filming was reportedly not done inside their private residence. Instead, scenes were shot at a separate property on Lilac Drive, a Spanish-style mansion used for production purposes. The same pattern appeared again with Meghan's lifestyle series, With Love, Meghan. The elegant home featured on screen was reportedly not their personal residence either. According to reports, another property was used as a filming location, creating the polished backdrop viewers saw throughout the show. As a result, much of what audiences have watched over the years has taken place in carefully selected filming locations rather than inside the couple's private home. Meanwhile, the residence they actually own has remained largely out of public view, which has sparked plenty of curiosity and discussion online. That naturally leads to a question many observers have asked: why keep the real home so private while sharing so much of life with the public? For supporters, it may simply be about security and boundaries. For critics, it remains a source of ongoing speculation.
The question then becomes, why now? So what could actually be causing this move? What is actually leading this theory of a move? Well, let's assume for a moment that the rumors are true. What would motivate a move? Well, we know that there are several possibilities. First, privacy. Ironically, the couple who moved to Montecito for privacy have spent years battling media attention in California.
That question is getting even more attention right now. There is another detail in this story that many people feel does not get discussed enough. When Harry and Meghan first arrived in North America after stepping back from royal duties, they did not immediately settle into a luxury Montecito estate. Instead, they stayed at Tyler Perry's highly secured property while deciding what came next. Tyler Perry, one of Hollywood's most successful and influential figures, reportedly opened his doors to the couple during a major transition in their lives. At the time, it was viewed by many as a remarkable act of support and generosity. Since then, some reports, commentators, and longtime followers of the story have questioned whether that support extended beyond providing a temporary place to stay. Speculation has occasionally surfaced about whether any additional assistance may have played a role in helping them establish themselves in California. However, it is important to note that these claims remain unconfirmed. Perry has not publicly provided detailed comments on such suggestions, and Harry and Meghan have not publicly addressed them either. What is known is that when the couple purchased their reported $14.5 million Montecito home in 2020, they were still at the very beginning of building their post-royal careers. Major partnerships that would later make headlines, including Netflix and Spotify agreements, had not yet been publicly rolled out, and many of the business ventures associated with their new chapter were still taking shape. So, where did the money for a reported $14.5 million property come from? That question has been debated by commentators, royal watchers, and followers of the story for years. With ongoing discussions about the couple's business ventures and finances, the topic continues to attract attention and speculation. Now the conversation is increasingly shifting toward the cost of maintaining a lifestyle on that scale. This is where people start focusing on the actual numbers because luxury estates of that size can come with enormous ongoing expenses. According to reports cited by Page 6, maintaining the Sussex's Montecito lifestyle could require millions of dollars annually in operating costs alone. The figure often mentioned is around $6 million per year, and that reportedly covers day-to-day expenses connected to their household and security needs. And that is the key point many observers focus on. These reported costs are often discussed separately from major long-term financial obligations, such as mortgage payments, investments, wealth-building plans, or savings goals. When those factors are added to the equation, the financial picture naturally becomes an even bigger subject of public discussion. The reported costs do not stop at the property itself. People often point to expenses such as security personnel, household staff, groundskeepers, insurance, property taxes, and the upkeep of a sprawling 7.5-acre estate. If the estimates discussed in media reports are accurate, those costs could add up to millions of dollars year after year. That is why so much attention has shifted toward the couple's current revenue streams. Many observers are asking whether the same level of income that once seemed available is still flowing today. The Spotify partnership, for example, came to an end, and that development generated major headlines. The situation drew even more attention when a Spotify executive publicly referred to Harry and Meghan as grifters, a remark that quickly spread across news outlets and social media platforms. The Netflix arrangement has also been the subject of ongoing discussion. While early reports highlighted the possibility of a massive long-term partnership, more recent commentary has suggested a different structure, with some reports describing the relationship as closer to a first-look deal rather than the type of broad agreement many originally imagined. Public appearances and speaking engagements have also faced scrutiny from critics and commentators who closely follow the couple's career moves. As debates about attendance figures, ticket sales, and audience interest continue, questions about long-term earning power have only grown louder. That brings us to a recent comment from royal commentator Maureen Callahan. Her remarks quickly caught attention and sparked fresh debate. with many people arguing that they highlighted concerns that have been building for quite some time. She said, "The Sussexes are having a lot of trouble monetizing what they used to monetize." That comment immediately grabbed attention because it went straight to the heart of a debate that has followed Harry and Meghan for years. According to Callahan's view, much of the public interest that once fueled major headlines has changed over time, making it more difficult to generate the same level of attention and commercial success as before. Whether people agree with that assessment or not, the discussion keeps coming back to the same issue. Maintaining a high-profile lifestyle can involve significant ongoing expenses, and those costs do not simply disappear when public interest shifts. The financial pressure being discussed by commentators continues regardless of changing headlines or media cycles. But the money questions are only part of the story. Another topic that has attracted attention involves staffing changes within Archewell. According to various reports, several experienced team members have departed over a relatively short period of time. Reports have pointed to the departure of individuals, including a deputy U.S. press secretary and a longtime UK media liaison. Observers have noted that these were not entry-level positions, but roles held by people with substantial knowledge of the organization's operations and public strategy.
No, I think it's both a personality disorder and an illness. Nobody can be so addicted to publicity that they need on a daily basis to make an ass of themselves by announcing that they're going to go to a funeral that they know they cannot go to. She had to have known she couldn't have gone to it. I mean, did she think because she had scrubbed up an invitation from Balenciaga?
What has especially caught people's attention is the way these departures were reported. Rather than becoming major public announcements, many were noted quietly through media reports and industry coverage, leading some commentators to speculate about what might be happening behind the scenes as the organization continues to evolve. Of course, people change jobs all the time, and by itself, that is not unusual. Staff departures happen in every organization. But critics and commentators argue that when an organization is facing intense public scrutiny, questions about future projects, and constant media attention, the loss of experienced senior personnel naturally attracts more interest. The reason is simple. Senior communications and strategy staff often have deep knowledge of how an organization operates behind the scenes. They understand the messaging, the long-term plans, and the day-to-day decision-making process. When several departures happen within a relatively short period, it can lead outside observers to wonder whether there is a bigger story developing. That does not automatically mean anything is wrong, but it does tend to spark speculation. In the world of public figures, major business brands, and celebrity organizations, staffing changes rarely go unnoticed for long. Industry insiders, reporters, and commentators often pay close attention because departures can sometimes reveal shifts in priorities, strategy, or future direction. Keep that in mind, because the next part of this story has generated just as much discussion. Montecito is not just another wealthy neighborhood, it is one of the most exclusive communities in America. High-profile names such as Oprah Winfrey, Ariana Grande, and Gwyneth Paltrow have all been associated with the area. It is the kind of place where influence, connections, and reputation carry enormous weight. That is why people pay attention to what happens there. In a community filled with successful business leaders, entertainment figures, and influential personalities, even small developments can quickly become a topic of conversation. For public figures living in that environment, every move tends to attract interest, especially when questions are already swirling around their future plans. According to various reports and commentary, some observers believe Harry and Meghan may not be as socially connected within Montecito as many originally expected. It is important to note that these claims are largely based on media reports and speculation, rather than public statements from residents themselves. That is part of what makes the discussion so interesting. There have been no major interviews, public criticisms, or official comments from neighbors. Instead, the conversation has been fueled by reports suggesting a degree of social distance within one of the most exclusive communities in the world. Whether those reports are accurate or not, they continue to generate attention. Many people expected a very different outcome when the couple settled in Montecito. The move was widely seen as the beginning of a new chapter surrounded by influential figures from entertainment, business, and media. For supporters, it represented freedom and opportunity. For critics, it was viewed as a major test of whether life outside the royal system could deliver everything that had been promised. But one point keeps resurfacing in public debate. A change of location can open new doors, yet public reputation often follows a person wherever they go. Fair or unfair, perceptions built over years can be difficult to reshape, especially when every move is examined through a global spotlight. And that brings us to what many commentators see as one of the most unexpected twists in the entire story. According to several reports and unnamed sources cited by media outlets, Meghan has been exploring the idea of spending more time closer to Los Angeles. The reported reason is straightforward. Montecito is a considerable distance from many business meetings, media opportunities, and entertainment industry events that take place in and around the city. Reports have linked her name to areas such as Bel Air and Malibu, two locations closely associated with high-profile figures in entertainment and business. For years, Los Angeles has been viewed as the center of many commercial and media opportunities, so speculation about a possible move has naturally attracted attention. However, commentators point to a major challenge. Owning and maintaining multiple luxury properties can be extremely expensive, even for wealthy public figures. The Montecito estate has been estimated by some reports to be worth significantly more than its original purchase price, with figures approaching $29 million occasionally mentioned in media coverage. But there is an important distinction between estimated property value and available cash flow. A home may appear highly valuable on paper, yet the ongoing costs associated with security, staffing, maintenance, taxes, and general operations can still be substantial year after year. That reality is what has fueled so much discussion. If reports about the costs of maintaining the estate are accurate, any major relocation decision could involve far more than simply choosing a new address.
The secret sale theory is this. Now, let's talk about the rumor, what is going on. Now, according to information circulating privately, there are claims that the property may be quietly marketed behind the scenes. Again, there is no real public evidence or public listing of this, no official information, no verified real estate documents. But what I do have is I have an email that Paula M. sent to me that I found interesting. And here it is. And this email talks about the private sale to a pretend buyer. And as you can see, they are requesting an opportunity to see the property.
For many observers, the situation carries a certain irony. Harry left royal life in search of greater independence and flexibility, and California was presented as the place where a completely new chapter could begin. Now, critics argue that practical considerations, whether financial, professional, or personal, may be creating a different set of challenges than anyone expected when that journey first began. But this time, critics argue that the focus is not on the royal family at all. The conversation has shifted toward a different set of questions involving finances, staffing changes, media opportunities, and long-term plans. When people connect all of those topics together, many believe they point toward one larger issue that continues to generate speculation. That brings us back to the rumors that sparked so much attention in the first place. According to various reports and online discussions, there have been ongoing claims that the Montecito property may be attracting interest through private channels rather than through a traditional public listing. It is important to stress that these claims remain unverified and have not been publicly confirmed by the couple. The reports describe a process often associated with high-end luxury real estate transactions. In the world of ultra-wealthy buyers and sellers, properties are sometimes discussed through private brokers, confidential networks, and invitation-only viewings rather than being broadly advertised to the public. In those situations, discretion is often the priority. Confidentiality agreements, restricted access, and private showings are not uncommon in the luxury market, particularly when high-profile individuals are involved. That is why the reports have attracted so much interest. Supporters of the theory argue that a private approach could signal serious intent, while others point out that wealthy homeowners frequently use discreet sales methods for privacy reasons alone. Either way, the speculation has continued because people are trying to determine whether these reports represent a routine real estate strategy or something much bigger happening behind the scenes. Celebrities and high-net-worth individuals use private real estate transactions all the time, so confidentiality by itself is not unusual. However, some commentators argue that if the reports about highly restricted viewings and extensive secrecy are accurate, it naturally raises questions about why such a careful approach would be necessary. Critics have suggested that a public sale could trigger intense scrutiny and renewed debate about the couple's long-term plans in California. Supporters, on the other hand, might argue that privacy is simply a practical concern when globally recognized public figures are involved. Either way, the speculation continues because no official confirmation has been provided. For many observers, the discussion goes beyond property values, business deals, or media headlines. Beneath all the rumors and financial debates is a story that people have followed closely for years, and that human element is what keeps drawing attention back to it. At the center of some of the most dramatic claims are reports that Harry became emotional during a social gathering in California and spoke candidly with attendees about his personal frustrations. These accounts have circulated widely online, but they remain unverified and should be treated as allegations rather than established facts. According to those reports, Harry allegedly expressed deep concerns about the direction his life had taken and spoke about missing aspects of his previous life in the United Kingdom. Some versions of the story claim he reflected on family relationships, his connection to his home country, and the challenges that have come with building a new life outside the royal system. If those reports are true, they would represent a striking development. After years of public disagreements and highly publicized tensions, the suggestion that he may have reached out to members of the royal institution for support has fueled even more discussion and speculation. At this stage, however, much of the conversation remains based on claims from unnamed sources and media reports rather than publicly verified statements. That has not stopped the story from spreading, but it does mean the details should be viewed with caution as the debate continues. Reports and commentary surrounding Harry's situation often point to another complicated factor. The children have spent much of their lives in California, and any major international move involving a family can involve important legal, parental, and logistical considerations. Because of that, decisions about where a family lives are rarely as simple as headlines make them sound. At the same time, stories about Harry's relationship with relatives continue to attract attention. Recent family events have sparked discussion online, with many commentators viewing them as another sign of the distance that has developed over the years between Harry and parts of the royal family. There is also the symbolic side of the story. Frogmore Cottage, once closely associated with Harry and Meghan, has moved on to a different chapter. For many royal watchers, that change represents more than just a property decision. It highlights how much has changed since the couple stepped away from royal duties. 6 years ago, Harry and Meghan presented their departure as the start of a new and independent future. Supporters saw a bold, fresh beginning, while critics predicted the road ahead would be far more difficult than it appeared. Now, with ongoing debates about finances, business ventures, family relationships, public image, and the future of the Montecito estate, many people believe the story has reached a fascinating turning point. What do you think? Has the move to California delivered what Harry and Meghan hoped for, or have the challenges outweighed the opportunities? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and share so you do not miss future updates and discussions. Thanks for watching.